Dominion's on a hunt for a Nazi submarine and its final victim.
You're trying to find a needle in the Atlantic Ocean. Is that a tank? That's a tank. Right there.
But everything's going off the rails.
We don't have it anymore!
We don't got an anchor.
And Gary and the dive team are dodging yachts at a local marina.
It's summertime, so everybody wants to be out on the water. We're just kind of in a minefield right now.
You can't have that happening.
For 50 years, this family's built a business where nobody else dares. Recovering, repairing, resurrecting anything in the world's most dangerous waters. This is their world. Salt water in their blood, come hell and high water.
It's go time. Do or die.
Diving, and business is as unusual as ever.
Dominion Diving gets asked to locate and find things underwater all the time.
A salty shipwreck hunter brings Matt a treasure map with the whereabouts of 2 wrecks from the Second World War. Archie Rose is a Navy vet who spent his life salvaging hundreds of shipwrecks in the North Atlantic.
So Archie comes in with the treasure map of sunken ships that hold secrets that I want to know about.
Archie Rose is a guy that knows a lot about shipwrecks. Archie's been around for quite a while. He was in the fleet diving unit, involved in a lot of technical diving and a lot of shipwreck diving. He also just happens to be Matthew's godfather.
U190.
He comes with him a briefcase full of knowledge.
Nova Scotia has a lot of wrecks. They say there's in excess of 10,000 wrecks along the coast.
You can't say shipwreck around Dominion without Sean's ears perking up.
I don't know what it is. Shipwrecks excite me. I'm a shipwreck junkie.
So Archie comes in. He lays out the maps. He shows me the location of 2 missing World War II vessels.
Well, I got 2 positions for the Esquimalt. I also got the position of U190, submarine that sunker.
Archie's got 3 potential locations for 2 shipwrecks.
Back in the 1940s, this harbor was a battleground. So there's a ton of war wrecks. Everything from supply vessels to warships to Nazi submarines. It wouldn't surprise me what we come across.
World War II. German sub U-190 has been stalking Halifax Harbor for months, destroying Allied convoy ships on the way to Europe. The Esquimalt, a Canadian minesweeper, is assigned to hunt down the U-190.
The U-190 and the Esquimalt were on a collision course from the beginning. So here we have the U-190 trying to break up the supply chain. On the other side of it, you have the Esquimalt trying to locate and blow up the U-190.
April 15th, 1945. In the final days of World War II, the U-190 finally gets Esquimalt in its sights, firing a torpedo through its stern, killing nearly its entire crew.
The Esquimalt was the last Canadian warship sunk during World War II. After the war, the Canadian Navy captured the U-190 and sunk it at the mouth of the harbor. Neither wreck has ever been found.
But if anybody knows where these wrecks are hidden, it's Archie.
With Archie, you know what you're dealing with. You know he's looked at where the information has come from.
It's the 75th anniversary, the sinking of Esquimalt. And this Navy vet wants to find it and bring closure to the families of the victims.
I'm almost 100% sure we're going to find that wreck.
A lot of the information he's got is information that not a lot of people have.
Archie doesn't think the Esquimalt rests where it was torpedoed. He he thinks it drifted on its way to the bottom.
When they found the mess, that's the last known position. So that's not where the wreck is. And now we got a tidal current along the coast here at 0.6 knots at times. And it depends on the weather conditions at that time that whole mess drifted. If you want to find the Esquimalt, it's right here, 6310. So we'll go to the other one, the other position, 4424. Right there.
So now this B site, is that where you're thinking the U-190 is?
She's laying out there where that position there is.
It's a brave man that puts a mark on a chart.
Archie's pretty confident. We're gonna see if we can put together this, go after it.
Treasure map in hand, can Matt and the Dominion team uncover the two most infamous World War II wrecks on this side of the Atlantic? Meanwhile, back at the shop, Sean's got a big job for the divers. Forget battleships. This one's all about luxury crafts.
So we're heading over to a private yacht club today. They have a mooring field, and a mooring field is a series of buoys and weights. A sailboat or a powerboat will come in. They tie up to the buoy, which is attached to an anchor.
Over time, the saltwater eats away at the moorings. Today, the divers have 40 moorings that need to be inspected for damage. It's going to be a long day with one big threat looming overhead.
The biggest issue we have over there is safety.
Boats are constantly circling the marina.
You know, nobody will intentionally run over a diver. They just don't understand the concept of, even if the diving boat is here, that the diver can be on his umbilical 500 feet, over there.
Underwater, the divers are virtually invisible to the boaters.
We flag that as a real high-risk situation.
And it's summertime, so everybody wants to be out on the water, so we're just kind of in a minefield right now.
The Dominion dive team, Gary, Christian, and diver Aiden, arrive on site. Each mooring is comprised of a buoy, shackle, rope, another shackle, and then a concrete base, all which need to be inspected. If one of those fails, say goodbye to your luxury yacht. But the stakes are even bigger for the diver in the water.
We all got to be aware, be on our toes, and be able to chase these guys away from us if they start getting too close.
To try and keep the diver safe, they brought a secret weapon.
We have a little Zodiac boat today, so that way we can kind of keep on top of the diver and then warn people that we got a diver going across with an umbilical.
The dive flag is an international symbol for diver down. Every mariner should know what it means.
You can pay like $50, go online and, do a little test to get your recreational boat license and, just bullshit your way through the test. People just want to get their boat ticket, hop in their boat and fuck off somewhere, right?
With the flag raised and the Zodiac launched, they're ready to go.
Radio check 1212.
It's Aiden putting himself in the line of fire today. He suits up, eyeing the surrounding boats. Once he's in the water, it's like crossing a highway blindfolded. If a boat gets too close, it could be a disaster.
You can't run that risk of that at all.
Back at Dominion headquarters, Matt's got his hands on a treasure map with the locations of two lost war wrecks. The Canadian minesweeper, HMCS Esquimalt, and the Nazi submarine, U-190.
The fact that Archie can come in and bring all this information with him is something that the kid inside of me enjoys. I love adventure. This is adrenaline. This is cool.
Matt's fired up, ready to go wreck hunting.
Sean's on side with me, not a problem. Now we gotta go see Robin. He might go for it. He might not.
Hey, dude.
Hey,
Matt may have high hopes for this hunt, but Robin's got some concerns.
with shipwrecks, it's locating the wreck obviously, that's going to be the biggest obstacle that you're going to run into. If we don't know exactly where it is with 100% certainty, you will not. It's too expensive. It's too expensive of an endeavor. We won't land on the
That's a
right
needle in a
target.
haystack.
And it's a futile attempt. Your chances are so slim. You want to kind of do as much work as you can up front, talk to as many people as you can, and gather as much information as you can. Yeah, there's a bit of work that's got to be done there for sure before we're able to deploy or decide what equipment we're going to have.
We're looking for 2 needles in a haystack. So for this one, we're gonna call in a little help.
They call in Vince Myers and Richard Peterson from Defense Research and Development Canada, a military intelligence agency. They've unearthed a treasure map of their own, hidden for over 7 decades, buried in the back of an old filing cabinet inside a military archive.
In there were a number of old World War II documents. We looked at these and said, wow, this is from this incident in the Second World War.
The newly declassified map landed on Vince's desk. The map showed Halifax Harbor, with references to 3 buoys and a floating lighthouse known as a lightship.
These are the original ones?
This is the original kind of master chart.
From World War II.
The lightship proved to be the smoking gun. Brand new evidence no one hunting the Esquimalt has ever had.
When I actually saw this chart that had the lightships off of Halifax, the buoys, that actually rang a bell with me, because then I recalled some of the survivor testimony from the sinking of the Esquimalt. Sort of the key piece of information was, having first seen this, it was this Halifax East light vessel. If you do any reading about the Esquimalt sinking during the war, it has survivor accounts who reference that light vessel. So this is what we had. So then we scanned it and then digitized it. So we have, working copies.
There's a bigger version of it.
Some of the survivor accounts say that the ship was sunk within sight to shore. The survivors could actually see, the coastline. They could see the lights of Halifax. Using that information, I said, 12 nautical miles, that's about visibility, on a good day where you can see shore. So I put a line, 12 nautical miles, from shore. So I said, okay, the ship probably went down inside of that line. So that's this blue line. Other survivor accounts say that the ship went down about 3 nautical miles from that light vessel. This was also found in the archives. So we actually have sort of original photographs taken of the U-190 when it was captured by the RCN.
To think, come across the Atlantic Ocean and that.
The U-190 surrendered at the end of the war. And then in 1947, the submarine was eventually used for target practice in the vicinity of where the Esquimalt went down. And so not only is the Esquimalt there, but the U-boat U-190 that had sunk are both in approximately the same location.
It's right around there. Right?
Vince and Richard bring 2 more potential targets to the table, both in the same area as Archie's 3 targets.
There's actually not one piece of data leading you away from this area.
Correct.
Everything sort of focuses right here.
Right around here.
We got 5 targets to locate. We're gonna go investigate all these different targets to see what's at each location. No matter what, it's not gonna be an easy feat by any means.
You know how you find a needle in a haystack?
Called Dominion diving.
I was ready, wasn't it? You had that right there.
What's down there? Not too sure. I'm hoping it's the Esquimalt and that German U-boat U-190.
They've got all the clues, but can they solve this 75-year-old cold case? The Dominion dive team's battling through a minefield for a big mooring inspection.
This mooring field is basically just a private parking lot for boats. If mooring was the break, it's a bad thing because the boat may crash into some other boats and damage them.
With Aiden in the water, Christian's patrolling for wayward mariners.
They simply don't know that they can't drive their boat in between because the diver's physically connected with his umbilical to that boat. Your camera feed, your communications, your airline, that's your lifeline, basically.
Diver Aiden and his umbilical are seriously exposed below.
All right, I'm gonna start, yeah. Go ahead, Aiden.
This is the first buoy of the day and the first problem.
So we got our first little buoy chain here, showing actually some good signs of wear on some of the links here.
It's close to land, but it's still part of the ocean. So this is all salt water. So the chains do corrode fairly rapidly.
Continuing downwards, our rope here has no thimble, is frayed to the point that there is only one out of the 3 strands from this rope.
The thimble is gone and the rope's been wearing through?
Yes, quite considerably.
Yeah, don't pull on that too much harder. Like, we don't want it to come free because there is a boat on that right now.
Yep.
Thimble on this one has been totally corroded away, so what's happening is the rope is now chafing on the shackle, and it's chafed through 2 of the strands, and it's a 3-strand rope, so it's getting ready to break.
The rope connecting the 2 shackles is worn, and the luxury yacht above is hanging on by a thread.
So I'm just going to use this rope here to temporarily secure it in the meantime until it can be repaired.
The diver found an excess piece of rope that was down there. It must have been used for when they were positioning the moorings. So what we're going to do is take that and just try to tie it around. So at least you got a fresh piece of rope there.
Some extra added security.
And I'll let them know that, that boat should be relocated to an open mooring.
The first mooring inspection is nearly complete. But above the waterline, disaster looms.
Yeah, so there's a boat there. We got an umbilical going straight across the mooring field right now.
I mean, you've got a man in the water, and it's critical that boat can't pass over that diver.
You might get your umbilical caught there.
You can't have that happening.
Asshole fucking right over my umbilical.
Christian frantically waves the dive flag. Back at headquarters, Dominion's top brass, Matt, Robin, and Sean are hunting down the location of 2 lost World War II wrecks. The 5 wreck targets are all outside the mouth of the harbor, in an area with an average depth of 90 meters. It's too deep to dive.
I gotta get an ROV, no problem. The next piece of equipment is a side scan sonar. That's a little bit more tasking. Reason why? We gotta get it down to depth.
A side scan sonar takes a digital picture of the seabed and needs a heavy-duty cable to feed that information back to the boat. The rule of thumb, you need 3 times as much cable as your maximum depth.
I need approximately 800 feet to get that unit down at the proper depth.
Finding cable at Dominion shouldn't be hard, but finding the right cable, not so easy.
So there's an umbilical that we use for the ROVs. This is a bigger one, obviously. So this is the wrong size diameter. We need something a lot smaller than that so you're getting a less current effect on it. That yellow one up there in the corner, something tells me that might do it. We need to get it down right now. Time's of the essence because it might be good, it might not be. Once they get it down, we take a look at it, it might work. This is the question.
With the cable down, it's on Dwayne to figure out if it's gonna work.
That is old ROV umbilical. And it has mini coax, which is no fucking good. What the fuck is this shit? No coax in that. That's no good. I'm not gonna make a Frankenstein in order to create this cable, so no, I won't use any of that. That's not gonna give you the best image. So he's gonna have to get a new one.
Plan B. Run out of time, I gotta get another cable.
Back at the private yacht club, diver Aiden's still got all of his libs and 6 moorings left to inspect.
All right, the diver has moved to the next buoy in this row offshore. Go ahead.
C8, Charlie 8.
I'm taking any notes of any deficiencies that I find. and we'll report back to the private boat club on the conditions of all the moorings.
A little shackle here is nice and tight.
And each mooring actually has a buoy on it with a number and a letter, so that way we can identify exactly which buoy it is that is having the issue.
A little bit of surface corrosion on the thimble there, but the rope under is not frayed. Looks like it's in good condition.
And you're all done this one now?
That's correct.
Roger, so that concludes C8. Diver's coming back up to surface there, so you can drag him to, I guess the white one would be the next one in line. You ready to get dragged?
We got the guest buoy here.
Normally we don't get, Zodiac, and today we get it because it's a safety issue. So works out for the diver because now he doesn't have to swim so hard. He can just be dragged around.
C11, C11, C12, D13. First chain looks to be in good condition. Swivel still functions properly. Rope appears to be in good condition. Splice looks good still. Here's our last shackle. Nice and tight. All in good working order.
All right, so is that everything then?
That's everything for this one.
Yeah, Roger. So that concludes the inspection.
So we finished the mooring field. We found a couple of moorings that are a little suspect that definitely need repairs. Made sure that, our diver got back safe and worked out well today.
After a long day of dodging boaters, Aiden's safely out of the water. And these luxury yachts aren't going anywhere. Back at Dominion, Matt's plan to go wreck hunting has come to a grinding halt.
No, I won't use any of that. So he's gonna have to get a new one.
Good morning, how you doing today? It's Matt Lonis calling from Dominion Diving. I'm in a little bit of a predicament. While I'm working on locating this cable and getting it shipped to Dominion Diving, we have Lorraine working on the equipment, the ROV side of things.
The 90-meter depth of the area they're searching is beyond the limits of normal diving operations. With Ollie's assistance, Lorraine gives the hard-working Chinook a much-needed tune-up.
So we're going to be calibrating the compass today. We got the Chinook suspended from the ceiling. Compass sonar, those are your two main equipment that you want to use for navigating. If the compass was off, then you could be heading in a direction which you think is north and you're actually heading south or whatever, and you'll never find anything that way, right? All right, so in order to calibrate this, we got to come over here. So as soon as I hit enter, you're going to start spinning it whatever way you want and just take like 30 seconds to spin it in a complete circle.
Okay, Roger. Not yet. Okay, ready?
1, 2, 3, go.
Passing east and north.
Looks good. If north is a little off. Yeah, so that's what it's showing north right there.
Yeah.
Because it's showing me 330 right now.
330. Wonder if we should get another compass just to verify, because this one might be off too, right?
Start it all over again.
Yeah.
Just to make sure. Okay, so as soon as I hit enter, we're gonna start spinning, okay? Ready?
Roger. Ready.
Okay, enter.
And she's almost at north, almost at north, almost at north, and at north.
It's pretty close. I'm getting 350. 356. Cool. That one worked way better than the first one.
Cool.
Yeah. So that's good. That's calibrated.
Perfect.
Chinook's ready to go, and now Matt is too.
So, some good news I got this morning was the cable for the side scan sonar arrived this morning, which is good. That was pretty quick service. You can see here all the different makeups of the cable inside. You got your shielding and then you got your power conductors, everything that's needed. Here we have the side scan sonar. This is the unit that we've used in the past to find dead bodies, to find sunken ships. So we got to take that bundle of wires, terminate a connector that mates up with this on the towfish side of things. That's what I'm going to be getting Dwayne to do.
One cable is made up of 9 other cables. Each carry information from the side scan sonar. Dwayne's got to solder all 9 wires to a new connector.
Shrink it down.
But things aren't looking good. The new side scan cable could be a dud. He won't know if it's online until it boots up.
You'll get a comm error until it establishes the communications. Yeah.
They're in. The cable works. They got the gear, now they gotta get the gang together. Herbie, Matt, Lorray, and the side scan technicians, Carlos and Johnny. Lorray tosses off the lines, and Herbie sets sail.
This is exciting times. This is something really cool. Can you say epic any better way? We're going to find shipwrecks.
As if finding the Esquimalt and U-190 wasn't hard enough, there's an even bigger challenge waiting for them at the mouth of the harbor.
We got a hurricane coming up the coast, so now you're gonna get these two sets of waves that when they come together, it's gonna create a confused sea. It's beautiful in here. It can be deceiving. Out there, it might be a whole different story.
With a hurricane looming on the horizon, will the shipwreck hunters become shipwrecked?
It's a telltale of what's to come.
Dominion Diving is braving the storm and on the trail of a pair of lost World War II shipwrecks. They're out to do what no one's done before. Find the Canadian minesweeper, HMCS Esquimalt, and the German submarine U-190.
Right now, we're gonna go to the first cluster of targets.
The two ships faced off during the final days of the war, when U-190 sunk the Esquimalt. It was the last Canadian ship to fall during the Second World War. And over 7 decades ago, both vessels were sunk somewhere in this area of the open ocean.
Those locations were recorded for some reason. Someone didn't just sit down one day and make up a bunch of numbers. Something is there.
The wrecks rest on the seabed 90 meters below. The only way to see them is to employ the side scan sonar, which takes a digital picture of the seabed. If there's any wrecks down here, they'll show up on this screen.
You got waves coming from one direction, they got old waves coming from another direction, and then when they combine, the energy comes up. That's why you got a confused sea where it's going all over the place.
Because of the surging sea, they've installed a shock absorber onto the side scan cable.
We've installed these springs that we're hoping will dampen the waves.
This is solid to the boat. This is solid down to the towfish.
It's kind of like the shocks on your car. It makes for a smoother ride.
Just set that. All right, ready to chuck her in. Okay, let her go.
In the wheelhouse, Johnny mans the screen.
Johnny's the man. He's going to be able to decipher the data that's going to be thrown at him from every angle to determine whether it's a good target, bad target, or move on to the next location.
On the back of the boat, Matt and Carlos struggle to pay out the cable.
Okay, I'll stop. We're almost at the end. Okay, that's it. Okay.
When we do see something, it should be quite obvious.
And an image of the seabed begins to emerge. Each side of the screen represents one of the sensors. They're in position, now flying over target number 1.
No one has seen the Esquimalt. The damage we're not sure the level of, but we're to understand that it was the complete stern was blown out of it. She might have went down and sat on bottom like a nice pretty little boat, or she could have impacted and exploded in a million pieces.
So there's something starting to come in. We're starting to see some much brighter targets. So this looks like this might be it now.
It definitely has potential.
Although unless that's kind of a mast or something sticking up. From what we understand, there's a bunch of stuff down there. So this could be kind of a debris field next to it.
got an image, but it's not what they wanted.
We saw something, but it was not necessarily, like it didn't scream shipwreck to us. It's possible that it was a rock ridge. To me looks like rock. It's so round.
With a rocky bottom like this, it's easy to be fooled.
It had the shape-like indications of a ship with the bow. Just the way the side scan was hitting it, it was giving us the dimensions and the shadows that gives you the exact same as what of a ship.
Target 1 is a miss. They pull in the towfish. On to target 2.
We're just kind of flying through an area of like a channel or something that lots of rock. This is killing me. What's your geological assessment there?
I would say it's not very interesting.
Okay.
I can say that in that image, though, I can see that there is a bottom.
I need some
Yes.
of the drugs.
I can officially say.
Okay.
I need some of the drugs.
What? You don't see a bottom?
I don't see it.
2 targets down. Maybe third time's a charm. As the day wears on, the crew's getting tired.
We're taking our third pass now. The previous 2, we saw something. It's possible that it was a rock ridge.
So far, we're not coming up with too many positive hits.
There's a lot of big rocks that come up out of the seabed, and in some ways they resemble a ship. If you let your mind take you that way, there's nothing that is very obviously a shipwreck.
Out of the 5 targets, we've searched 3 so far. We didn't come up with anything. Situations like this, you're trying to find a needle in the Atlantic Ocean. At this point, we're gonna have to call the 3 targets done. But we still got 2 more.
It's been a frustrating day. With 2 targets left, it's all or nothing now.
We are just approaching it now, so a few hundred meters.
Okay.
So there looks like something, some debris. See a big shadow.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's something for sure.
There's something here. It looks like a ship.
You can tell that's kind of a man-made structure, very square, sharp objects.
Front.
Yeah.
Hey man, we're here.
I can see the bow perfect on there.
Yeah.
Like the Titanic bow, whatever you want to call it. It kind of gives you a scale for like the Esquimalt.
It's time for Lorraine.
Target 4 is a bullseye. Are the Dominion team 90 meters away from solving one of World War II's greatest mysteries? Matt and the team got a World War II shipwreck in their sights.
Oh yeah, that's something for sure.
Hey man, we're here.
So we're gonna bring the side scan on deck and then put the ROV in the water. Yeah, we found something.
They haul in the towfish and bring out the Chinook.
Far back as I can get it. So we got a target on the shipwreck. And we're gonna send the ROV down now and get a visual on it.
But first, they gotta drop their anchor.
Is it in the water?
Yeah, here in the water.
Lorraine does some final checks on the ROV and sets up the ROV command center inside.
All right, drop me in. I'm just making it down to the bottom. I'm following the clump weight cable, just so I don't lose reference. Deck to sea bottom can get pretty challenging because you can lose your bearings very quickly. Okay, we're on bottom. I'm gonna do some sonar sweeps and try to pick up some targets, and then I'll head in that direction. See that right there, that little shot of yellow? That could be something.
They should be on top of the wreck, but they're not seeing anything.
You seen anything popping up?
Then, out of the darkness,
Okay, here, we got something here. I started seeing debris all over the seabed, and I knew I was close to something. Look at that, that's pretty cool. Bunch of steel plates. We found it. Here it is. See, there's something sticking up right there. I don't want to get near. It looks like the bow, maybe. Hard to say.
You can see the rivet. You can see the rivets on the.
Yeah, well,
You can see on that piece that's sticking out. See the rivet?
Yeah.
This is a wreck. This is an old wreck because you can tell by the riveted hull. Riveted hull is back how they used to make the older vessels. They never welded anything. So that's an indication of the era. So now we're going to try to find some identifying factors to see what we can determine.
Let's see it from the other side.
Go up close. Check this out.
When I first swam up to it, I could only see portions of it. And then as I rotated around to the side of it, it just opened up and I could see the entire shipwreck. And it was so cool. I could see all the plumbing inside and the deck boards. You could see everything. This is so cool. Can you tell I'm excited? Pretty neat. That's really cool. Not a whole lot of people get to see this stuff, right?
It's having some features, indications of the era by being riveted, but it's not having the features of a minesweeper.
This wreck isn't what they've been hunting. According to World War II records, this is the remains of a British tanker charged with delivering oil to fuel the Allied war effort in Europe. Sunk 4 months before Esquimalt, it was also the victim of a German submarine torpedo.
It looks like this might have been where it snapped. Because kind of twisted and broken off, and there's nothing left on the other side.
So right now, we're not finding any distinguishing features or anything. What are we looking at here? We're not 100% sure, other than it's a big shipwreck that is old.
And there's pieces strewn everywhere.
We can verify it's not the Esquimalt.
Too big.
It's too big. There's no features showing like a minesweeper. So we're gonna move on to the next location, the next target. See what we have at that area. Let's pull her back in, get her back on deck, and move off to the next location.
Cool. Carlos, I'm gonna come up on that anchor, so just watch yourself. So we were pulling up our train wheel, which we use for an anchor. As it was coming up to surface, we seen this long object at the end of our crane wire, and we thought it was a piece of timber.
Figure out!
We don't have it anymore! We have a piece of the boat! I couldn't have done that if I tried. We traded our anchor for a piece of the boat. So we had actually lost our anchor and somehow pulled up a piece of the shipwreck.
Davy Jones is playing games with us.
Watch yourself on that!
Every piece of metal that is down there is just like a razor blade because it's been just sitting there rusting away.
Okay, Herb, you're clear. Right there is a twist of fate. We dropped our clump weight down. We ended up losing our clump weight. At the same time, hooking one of the targets. So that there kind of pooches the rest of our day shipwreck hunting on. Because we don't got an anchor. We're gonna lose all the steaming time to go back and grab another anchor. It's just not gonna work.
They still got one target left, but no anchor to hold the boat in position.
I don't know.
If they don't come up with a new plan in a hurry, the search is sunk. Dominion's on the wreck hunt of a lifetime. They've got one last target, but they got no way to park the boat. The new plan is to hover over top and hope the ROV lands right on it, a technique known as live boating.
So live boating, there is no anchor, so we are just drifting.
I need Herbie to hold this vessel tight. He's going to use the thruster and the propeller to keep the boat in the close proximity of where we're going to launch the ROV. This is a dangerous process.
There's a whole lot of things that can go wrong.
Now you got the cable going down to the ROV, free in the water. You got propeller blades on the vessel spinning, ready to chew that cable up with the ROV, and then we lose everything. Game over. We're dead in the water.
Lorraine has no anchor line to follow down. She's flying blind.
I used my sonar to locate any large targets. There was a large target directly right in front of me, so I swam a few feet, and I couldn't actually believe what I seen.
Boom, there's the ship. The ROV
Landing right on top.
Landing right on top. She's not in the greatest shape.
No.
So whatever took it down, took her down. Is that a tank?
Kind of looks like it, eh?
Is that a tank? What the hell did we just see? That's a tank. Right there. That's awesome.
Never ever seen anything like that before. That's fucking cool, man.
Yeah, man. You can see all the rollers. On the East Coast, it's riddled with war wrecks. It's not a minesweeper. It's a war era vessel again. But minesweepers never took tanks around with them unless they threw a tank at them, which is highly unlikely. Some things that we can cross off the list on the 5th location is the fact that this is not the German U-boat 190. It's not the Esquimalt. Definitely a war era vessel. There's a tank here, for frig's sakes.
They wouldn't have a tank on the Esquimalt. That would have been some freighter or something that would have been loaded with military supplies going to Europe, right? Something like that.
But suddenly, the ROV gets dragged away from the wreck.
We're starting to drift off quite heavily. We're paying out a lot more umbilical than we should.
We're starting to run out of tether, and they decided to, call it, bring the ROV back on surface before anything happened, right? We didn't want to lose the ROV, and it's kind of dangerous while you're live boating, and so we wanted to recover as soon as possible and get it on deck.
We have to come up because we can't hold station. We don't got no anchor in place. We got no clump weight. We're happy to even get a glimpse of something to even identify that, okay, there's something there.
There was scattered debris everywhere around the tank too, so that poses a hazard, just entanglement, and that would be really bad if we had the ROV actually caught on something on the seabed, and then we would have to cut the tether ourselves, and that's something that we really don't want to do.
Yeah, time to go before anything else happens.
After a long day of wreck hunting, the search for Esquimalt and U-190 comes up short. The 2 wrecks are still out there. Somewhere.
We didn't find the U-190. I was really hoping to find that. We didn't find the Esquimalt. Out of the 5 targets, the first 3 targets, we didn't find anything. We weren't getting the proper hits. That doesn't mean there's nothing there, but from the angles that we're approaching, we didn't get no targets. The last 2, most definitely there is something on both locations. The first one, for starters, is holding on to my anchor, my clump weight, which I gotta get that back. The second location, don't know what it is, but we found something that's totally epic. We got a little bit more research to do. As soon as you start looking into shipwrecks, it seems everyone's ears perk up.
Hi, I'm here to see Matt Lonis, please.
So I just got a call from a marine geologist, Gordon Fader.
Good to meet you.
Very good to meet you, sir. Very good to meet you. He's very well known, well respected member in the marine industry.
Well, Matt, I think I've got a great story for you and something that will interest you, and it could be a great project offshore to do some work.
Oh, yeah?
And yes, it involves 2 shipwrecks. One is called the Esquimalt, which was the Navy ship that was sunk by a German U-boat during the war, and the German U-boat that actually sank it.
This just shows you how fast news travels within this tight-knit marine community.
Pretty sure that I have located both of those.
Yeah, baby, we're back. 75 years. Davy Jones has been holding on to these secrets for a long time.
Even if you're not into the ocean or you're not into anything, you tell the story of any ship that's been lost at sea, and it's interesting. Treasure lost, there's treasure found.
The heart, the DNA of Dominion diving. We're shipwreck hunting. And we're gonna get them back.